Hello, Midnight Coders, and welcome to another video with me, your host, Clave. So, a couple of days ago, I had posted a video which was a challenge. It was a blueprint idea. It led you to my website where I've got more of these. But I had a friend of mine actually ask me if I would record my own solution. So I thought it was a good idea, and here we are. So in this video, we are going to walk through my solution of the Midnight Mentor Higher Lower challenge. So without further ado, make sure you've got that full cup of coffee, and let's dive on in. All right, so first and foremost, we are going to start out by creating a couple of classes. We got to do a couple of imports, or sorry, a dependency import. So we'll start out by going into our POM, and we're going to add a dependency. We're going to take the Jackson data bind because we're going to be looking to, there we go. Thank you, IntelliJ, for all of that. So the idea here is we want to be able to serialize some data when we're in here. We're looking to save our player as a save our player as a JSON file or to a JSON file. So Jackson Data Bind is going to be the perfect option for that. All right, so we'll start out by modeling our player of the game, followed by the player's choice. So to start out, we're gonna just make a, we'll call this, I guess, we'll stick this inside of a player package, and we'll just call it player. All right, we'll add that to our thing. We're gonna come in here, and now we're gonna have a couple things. So we're gonna have a name, wins, losses, current streak, and best streak. So bear with me while I type this out. Okay, so now we're going to have a noargs constructor. This noargs constructor is just going to be used for the serialization. We are also going to need a getter for the name, and we're going to need a way to set that name. So we're actually going to have another a public constructor here, which is going to take in the name. Now, other things that we need to do here before our getters that I've got started here. Actually, we'll just finish this up. So we're going to come down here and we're going to do Alt Insert. We're going to say we want getters, and we're going to snag the getters for everything. Nope. We're going to undo that. Try that again. We're going to have getters that are IntelliJ style, and there we go. So now the other things we want to do is we want to be able to, when we win and lose, we want to be able to increment or decrement these values. So I'm going to say public void win, which is then going to take care of wins plus plus. Yeah, I like that. We're going to say current streak plus plus. Yeah, I like that. And then we're going to say that the I'm going to say the best streak is equal to this. There we go. And now I want to make a loss, which just simply breaks the record or breaks the streak. Now, the other thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to make a method that allows us to see our stats. So This is going to be a public void print stats, and it is basically going to be that, except I don't like that it used that instead of Java 25 IO. So let's see what I don't like here. So I don't like that. Wins, loss, current streak, best streak. Okay, I'm happy with that. So now we're going to say print line because I want this to be a little bit prettier. So we're going to say this. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Fuck, I'm not counting. We're going over to here. I duplicate this, duplicate it again, and we're going to come down here and say player stats, and I think that about looks centered, kind of, sort of. Yeah, sure. Perfect. Okay. So now that's all I want in my player class. Next, we want to make the player's choice. So we're going to come in here, we're going to create another class. This is going to be an enum, and it is going to be that of player choice. Make sure I spell that right. If not, we're rolling with it. All right, so we're going to say that the choices are higher, lower, or quit, because we do want a way to be able to leave this. Now, I am going to add some methods in here, or a method in here. Sure, that about looks right. I'm just going to call this map to enum, and I mean, kind of like this being input to be a little more specific. That's just me. And now this is going to be, you know what, we're going to overload this, and we're also just going to say that, whoop, that's supposed to be an H. So the user can provide either higher, lower, or they can just provide the shorthand. There we go. Perfect. That's all we're going to need for the player's choice. Player Choice Award. So now I am going to create a class that's called the Player Repository, because we are going to need a way to interact with our save file. So for the sake of it, we're going to have a private final file path. I don't like this. It's going to be ./data is going to be the file path. I'm going to have a private final JSON mapper. I'm going to create the mapper in here. And now I want to be able to do a couple of things in here. I'm going to check to see if it exists, if the user exists. So we're going to say public Boolean exists by name, and we're going to provide a string name, and we are going to then have a little check to see if the file exists. So we're going to say file equals new file. I wish there was a file.of. This is going to be that of the file path, and then we're going to say name.json, and we're going to return whether or not the file exists. Perfect, that's that. Now we're going to save the file. So we're going to say public void save player, and kind of, sort of, maybe. So what we're going to do here is take rid of this. So we want the file path player.name. And then we want to say if the file dot doesn't exist, then we're going to say new file make dirs, and then we're going to come down here and we're going to say mapper dot default pretty printer, and then we're going to say write value file play. Okay, that's got to be the other way around, but this is also going to throw an IO exception. There we go. Perfect. Next, we need a way to load this. So, how do we load it? Basically that right there. Good job, IntelliJ. All right, so now we need a service class that's going to handle this information. So we're going to create a new, I don't like that I can't create this easier. Um, there we go. Okay, so sorry about that. So now we're going to create a new class that's going to be inside the service package, and it's going to be player service. Now this here is going to be talking with the, uh, the player repository. So that kind of looks right. We'll take that in, and now what we want to do is basically the same checks. So public boolean, if I can type. We're going to say exists. We're just going to call this player player exist, if I can type, which we're just going to say here. And then, of course, we are going to do this. However, I don't want to throw the exception here. I want to actually handle it. So in this case, we are just going to let IntelliJ surround this and let IntelliJ surround this for us. There we go. And now the next thing that we're looking to do is create a, I'm going to go in here, I'm going to create a terminal because I want to do some fun stuff in here. So in here, I'm going to make a public static void. There we go. So this is going to be more or less of a utility thing. So this is a static void, and I'm going to use this to clear the console. And I'm clearing the console so that things just look pretty. And again, I mean, I can roll with it, but I don't like we did that. This should be, I really think that is supposed to be something else. I think this is supposed to be U001B, 1B, and then this is also supposed to be Unicode 001B. There we go. That's our terminal. That's our service. That's our repository. So next, we're going to need to go back into our service, and here's where we're going to make a fun game service. So this is going to be the main bulk of everything. So game service, and this is where we're going to be doing all the nitty-gritty stuff. So we're going to have ourselves a private final player service. We're going to have a private final player, and then we are going to have a private final random. Okay, so now why did you not import? Import me. There we go. Okay, so now we need a new game service. So we're going to say public game service. This is going to be with a string name. And then we are going to say we're going to create the player service. We're going to create the, so that's this. I like to use that when I'm in constructors. This dot random is going to equal new random. I'm not looking to load the player because I got to do some checking and whatnot things first. So, first thing I want to do, terminal.clear console. Next thing I want to do is I want to see if by chance the player service, the player, so if If the player doesn't exist, then you're silly. That's funny. Then we're going to say player equals new player. And again, for initializing things, I like to do this. I don't know why, don't ask me, it's just how I am. So here we're going to say else this.player.load. Load player. Okay. And then from here, we're just going to simply say player.print stats, so we know what we've got. Followed, no, we need to welcome our person. That's right, I need to welcome them. Gotta be polite about this. So we're gonna say io dot print line, but not this. Print line, yeah, okay. Welcome to higher and lower. Concat name, concat exclamation. Cool. So now we just welcomed our player, and then we cleared the console. So let's get a couple of things out of the way here. So we're going to need a way to pick a number. So we're going to say, that's right, that's other things we need to keep track of. So up here, I need to keep track of a private int. We'll call this the current, if I do this right, this is going to be the current number. I have to spell it wrong, otherwise it's not going to work. All right, and then I'm going to have a private player choice, and I'm just going to call this choice. All right, so now minimize this, clear this, clear this. I'm just getting too big here. I want to have a little real estate. So we're going to have a private integer, and this is going to be pick number. Okay, and what this is going to do is it's going to say var selected num is going to be equal to random dot get next num. We're going to say 101 because we want it to be, between 1 and 100. And then we are also going to do a quick check to see if, and this is where recursion comes in, because we want to make sure that it's not the same number. So if the selected number equals the current number, then selected number equals pick a new number. You'll see that IntelliJ, I'm sorry, you probably can't see this. You'll see that IntelliJ on the left-hand side has added this recursion. And for those of you that are wondering, we're going to run over this player class where you can see it. The print stats, I do apologize for that this was not in full case or full size, but as you can see here, these were the services that we created to save, load, and basically process our player. So now we're inside of the game service, and once we have picked a number, we're going to need to start the game. Okay? So bear with me. One big method. Okay, so in the start method, we are going to do IO print line, and I'm going to do this big spacing thing again, and we're going to say game started, and I'm going to roughly try to center that for myself and my own sanity. So next we are going to ask the player, next we are going to make a little space. So I'm going to say io.println with nothing in it. And then I'm going to say the current number. Current number is going to be equal to pick a number, and I also need a Boolean in here that's going to keep track of whether or not the game is running. So is running is going to be equal to true because we have started it. So now, while is running, we're going to do some stuff. We're going to say current number is sure, that about looks right. Next, I want to say to the player io dot print line enter your guess, and then again we're gonna say io dot println, and here's where we're gonna throw in a string template, and we're gonna say h higher lower quit. Scroll down, coming down here, and then we're gonna say var input is readln, and we're gonna provide a prompt in here just so that the player knows where they're at. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to say choice is now equal to player choice, player choice dot, and this is where we got the map to enum input. And now if the player's choice is quit, then running is just going to be false, and we're going to break out. Next, we're going to say that the var next num is pick num, and then we're going to say we're going to switch, and we're going to be switching over the choice that the player made. Here we go, and this is not what we want. So if we are higher, we're going to do a little logic. We're going to say if the next number is greater than the current number, then we want to say io dot println correct, yay. And then we're going to say player dot win else we're going to say that it was wrong and player dot lose. Okay, next we're going to come here, and lower is going to be pretty much the same thing, except this is the other way around. Now, if we choose quit, well, we already chose choice up here for quit, which is just going to return running is done. However, we will simplify this a bit and say IO if we, don't have to get there. And now we do still have one more case, which is, of course, null, and we're just going to say that it was an invalid choice. So next, once all of this hectic fun stuff is done, we're going to say that the current number is equal to the next number. And this was our while loop. Okay, so we'll get out of that. So now that we can go beneath the game and tell the player that the basic is this. Do this, game over. Again, I'm gonna try to center that a bit. And we are going to say player service dot save player. I did make a save, didn't I? Yeah, save player. Okay. And then we're going to print out the final stats. So here I am now going to say io dot println one more time. we're going to say that the player stats have been saved, just to kind of be redundant about that. Player saved, and then player dot print stats at the end. So that was a lot. One last final thing to do, which is the hardest class of all. Brace yourself for this. We have to start the game somehow, right? Okay, so we're going to say IO. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to say, welcome to Higher Lower. And we'll try to once again center that. There we go. Because we're epic, we're going to hit that exclamation bang. All right, so now we're going to say var name equals what is your name? And I'm going to slap the old new line and greater than symbol. And then we're going to say new game service start. Done. Just like that. All right. So let's see this in action. Is this going to work? Will I fall on my face? We don't know, but we're going to watch. Because it's fun to see people fail. All right, so welcome to Higher Lower. Glave. Here are my stats. Useless. The current number is 1. I'm going to say it's going to be higher. 85. Yes. Okay, it's going to be lower. 77. Yeah, baby. I don't have this much luck in reality. Oh, yeah. We're going to say higher than that. Oh, yeah. Lower. Yeah. Okay, we're in the mid-range. Higher, lower, higher, lower, higher, lower, higher. Shit. I was wrong. I'm done. I hate this game. I'm going to rage quit. Look at that. Game over. Stats 5. 1 loss. Broke my thing. I had a 5 streak. I'm done. And if I look up here, there's now a data file with my JSON save data. And because it's saved as Glave, I can have multiple users. Well, I hope you enjoyed this, guys. So that was my solution, and I look forward to seeing yours. So make sure that you've submitted your challenge to the website. If you haven't already, you can get there by going to midnightcoder.dev/mentor. This was part of a completely free mentorship program that I'm starting to throw. And if you want to get involved, you want to get mentored, I will offer one-to-one mentoring. I offer group mentoring. You name it. I also offer consultations. So if you happen to want to review your own code and see how you can get a little bit better with it, by all means, reach out. Join the Discord. Post your results on there, and let's see how you done. Yeah, that's right. I spoke proper English. Let's see how you done. Come on to Canada. That's how we do it. Stay where you're to. I'll come to where you're at. All right. So if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed my solution, by all means, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. And as always, guys, keep your curiosity open, your skills sharp, and that coffee cup full, y'all. I'll see you in the next one, everybody.